Was the verdict and the 7 guilty counts that came a surprise to you?
Honestly, no. I was a bit surprised that the verdict came so rapidly, but I think everyone who was watching this trial with some background and expertise saw this ship sinking rapidly. It was clear that Sam Bankman-Fried's testimony was going to be what it ended up being, a Hail Mary pass that was not successful. There really wasn't a question when the government kept things so simple and just simply showed that Sam Bankman-Fried said one thing and did entirely another, and that his image was basically a ruse as part of this whole cryptocurrency fraud.
Christine, the lead headline at Bloomberg this morning is SBF faces decades in prison after swift guilty verdict. The facing decades in prison part, help our audience understand how that sentencing process will work from this point.
Sure. So there is a set of guideline factors out there, the U.S. sentencing guidelines, but those are entirely discretionary. So the court is required to consider those various factors and then make a determination in its own discretion how those factors will apply to Mr. Bankman-Fried's sentence. What's driving the sentence that everyone's describing as possibly life is the loss involved here. Obviously, there's millions, if not billions of dollars lost here. So that's one main consideration. Another consideration will be his leadership in the organization. So what will happen is Mr. Bankman-Fried will be subjected to an interview by pretrial service, by the probation office, and they'll prepare what's called a pre-sentence report and make a recommendation based on his personal background information and the factors around these crimes that the defense and the government can then respond to, and the court will take all of that into consideration in sentencing Mr. Bankman-Fried.
His own legal team, of course, showed their disappointment regarding the verdict. Will they appeal, and what sort of grounds might they use? For example, I've seen lots that there was concern around lack of, well, ability to access certain medicines, for example.
Yes, I'm certain that they will appeal, and that will likely be one of the grounds. Another ground will possibly be the fact that the court limited his defense, that he relied on the advice of lawyers as evidence in his case. I understand that the defense was objected to vociferously by the government during the defense's cross-examination of the cooperating witnesses, and that those objections were sustained by the government. That might be another grounds for appeal as well.
And what about those that gave evidence? Those that, in many ways, pleaded guilty themselves? How do we anticipate that they, too, will face punishment, potentially prison time?
They will. This, again, will be in the court's discretion. They will be sentenced after Mr. Bankman-Fried is sentenced, and the court will take into consideration their cooperation in this case. The court will also take into consideration the fact that they were all leaders in this organization as well. One was the head of engineering, one was a co-founder, one was the CEO of FTX. The court will also take into consideration the value of their testimony. You know, it's very difficult oftentimes to prove someone's intent. There was obviously a lot of corroborating evidence in contemporaneous text messages and documents, but certainly having the people that were in the room talking about what Mr. Bankman-Fried was saying is very valuable. The court will also take into consideration that they cooperated essentially after the fact. No one took a risk and wore a wire while this was happening. So these are all things the court will take into consideration in sentencing the cooperating witnesses.